audio editing today, a little different than our normal stream. But hey, just going to show you kind of what the process is for how we get Concede going. So you can see here, I've recorded two different tracks. This one right here, the top track, is just me. Solo it here. Oh, I'll explain this in a second.
Yeah. I re-edit it.
So when I turn off this, because this is not going to the bus.
You can play with them this week in Tavern Pro.
That's just me, and I've already applied the effects rack. I'll turn it off so you can hear the difference later. So this is just me.
You can play with them this week in Tavern Pro.
And this track right here, which doesn't go to the bus, is the raw audio.
Shout out.
I re-edit it.
Shout out to the patrons. I love you, patrons.
You can play with them this week in Tavern Pro.
Oh.
So you get the idea. This is the raw audio. The way this works, I split the two channels recording. You can see this is the left channel, and this is the right channel. I have a hardware mixer off stream that you can't see. What I do is Skype is listening to my audio, but Skype is coded it only hears the right or the left ear. So I have two different inputs, one of which is my mic input, and one of which is the audio that Skype outputs, and that gets pushed back through the mixer. All of the audio gets put together, but the other host can't hear themselves because their audio is routed only to the right channel, which is why my audio here does not have it, and which is why they can't hear it. So it's a functionality of Skype that works really well for our purposes. It only hears one channel of audio. And there's a fader knob that's turned all the way to the right. So that's how I get the separation here. We're only going to use the raw audio for lining up the other host's audio. So you can see here. Okay, I've got Bodicus and Kenny's audio. They record separately in MP3. Wave is fine too. I'm going to drag in Bodicus. And they record their audio at a slightly different sample rate than I edit in. Doesn't really matter. But it's actually pretty convenient to have a copy of their file instead of having the actual audio that I have to edit. Just to make sure if I fuck anything up, it's not a big deal. Cheers. So you'll see that they're converting the sample type. It's going to take a little bit of time. In the meantime, I'll go through my effect settings. So I have presets for all three hosts. And I'll go through what all the different presets are. So this is Bodicus. Hello, Wicked Good. Yes, I'm sure you were very excited. And this is Kenny. So the presets here, you can actually hear the difference. I'll do my audio only.
Yeah. I re-edit it.
Okay. Then we'll turn it on.
Yeah. I re-edit it.
So you can really hear the difference there. There's a bunch of different effects. First, there's a parametric equalizer. We'll do one effect at a time.
Yeah. I re-edit
So, effect is off right now. When we turn it on, you can see what we're doing is really cutting out a lot of the low end frequencies and amplifying the top end. Okay. After that, dynamics, where it's more the same thing. We're kind of gating out the crap in the middle. We're actually expanding the middle and leveling off the top.
Yeah. I re-edit it.
You can feel kind of how much higher, how much more body.
Yeah. I re-edit it.
The top of the audio has. After that, we do the speech volume leveler. What this does is exactly what you think. It targets a volume level for the audio, and it bumps it up. The dynamic range actually is what dynamic range. When I first was editing, I had this cranked all the way up, and so you were getting a good amount of the breath sound of people talking between their words. We don't want too much aggressive leveling. We don't want every single sound to be the same. We just want approximate speech values. We also have a compressor to make the high end a little bit less aggressive and a noise gate to take out the crap. Anything below that that gets blown up a lot by the speech leveler. We're gating it up beforehand. We're not amplifying it, so you'll hear the difference.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I re-edit it.
So it's a big jump, too big sometimes. And so I use the multiband compressor to actually lower it down. Once I level everything, I just want to make sure I compress the top and the noisier stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then from there, the mastering preset, which is literal magic, we make some nice room for vocals here in the middle. And we cut off the super high top end where you get a lot of hiss. So this one is a really noticeable difference.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I re-edit it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I re-edit it.
That's really this tool which Rob turned me on to from Velen Chosen really gives you that kind of radio quality. All right, so I'm going to go back. Got bots, we've got Kenny's. It's the same general concept. It's in different order because Audition is crazy and saves everything exactly. And a lot of these I've tried out and have turned on and turned off for various reasons. From here, what we're going to do, first we're going to save early, save often. We're going to do some noise reduction. You can see the spectrometer here. These purple lines, these light purple lines, kind of the noise between me talking. So we're going to do, oh, I always forget what it is. I do Control-Shift-P on the keyboard. But I know that there's a, I don't know. I'm going to do Control-Shift-P. We have to capture the noise print. For lighter noise, I usually do about 58%. And we're going to select the entire file after we capture the print, and it's going to remove a lot of this junk. And you'll see the difference in it. You can multitask this if you want. I usually do and then play a game or something in the background, but since we're focusing in, we don't need to. Where do I increase the track's butt strength, Steve? I don't need to. The track is already quite butt fortuitous. Fortitudinal? I don't know. It's nice. Usually I switch between 3 and then go do something else while it's doing that. Since we're focusing in here, we'll do one track at a time, just so you get the idea. Though I retain the right to do some Hearthstone while this is like at the end where it's compressing or mixing down to one track because that's pretty time consuming. All right, you can see these lines much quieter. You can. Okay, so we're going to save that. While that's saving, go to the waveform. This is Bodicus's audio. His tends to be the noisiest. He has a Blue Yeti microphone which picks up absolutely everything. And you can see his audio just has so much going on. You can see kind of the low end here and then the high end as well.
Shout out to the patrons.
You can hear everything.
You patrons.
You can hear kind of that low end hum. It's his computer's fan, but also just the Blue Yeti. The condenser microphones pick up so much more audio that they need a lot of work. I did not capture the noise print. Silly me. Let's try that again. I believe Steve Wickedgood has a Blue Yeti, and I believe he is quite familiar with their sound signature. It can be frustrating to work with sometimes. So I really want to amp down the noise here, so I apply it to the entire track. And you can see it's a little bit more labor intensive, not a ton more. And Bot's audio also, we can look at the effects real quick. He has slightly different settings. Dynamics processing, his gate is the same. But I think I forget where I changed it. Yeah, the mastering dips down a lot more. Yeah, the parametrics are a little different. I think I taper off at the top end here. This looks pretty much the same. Yeah, it's, I think, Steve, that he has the gain all the way down as well. But it's, you know, I mean, it's just a condenser just has a different sound signature and really picks up a wide array of frequencies. So, like, it's useful in some contexts, but in speech only, it's, you know, it's not terrible. It's probably the highest end entry level mic you can get. And it will really accurately reproduce sound, but a lot of the times you want a very specific sound. And I find that the additional frequencies, you know, they make a little bit more work in post editing, but they do provide a fuller range of sound. So you can see those lines really fade. And Audition's pretty amazing tool here. We'll save that. It's a pretty big edit to the track, and then we'll go do Kenny's, which usually is pretty light in terms of noise. Okay, yeah, so almost always I look for, it's usually his breath. It's usually very, very light. So I'll just do it just because I can. Oh, hello, Green Speed. Yeah, I don't know if I'd call myself the master. I'm probably just an amateur that has had to learn quickly. And you can tell there's not much audio, not much noise we need to remove here, so it'll probably be pretty quick. It's a very subtle noise reduction. All right, so Kenny's is saving. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start lining up the audio. I obviously don't need to line up mine. What we do at the beginning of the podcast is we all clap twice. Clap number 1. Clap number 2. Okay, so pretty distinctive waveform. This right here is the trimming tool. It's going to razor out and separate anything before it. I don't need any of this junk beforehand. I'm just going to approximately line it up. And there's some really nifty snapping that goes on here. Kenny's I can't do yet. And so we'll do with just Bodicus. Put him on the bus, and track number 5 will be that'll be for the bumpers. Okay, there we go. Just approximate is fine, because we're going to do some more fine-grained matching here. Okay, let's start with Bodicus. We're going to go to see where he is talking on his track. Right around here. We're going to zoom in. You can see these waveforms right here. You can really tell when he's talking, right? Look at the raw versus his. The shape is extremely similar. So we're just going to line up at the beginning of the track. The beginning is important. I'll explain why. And we're just going to nudge his. The raw never moves. We trimmed the beginning of his so we could nudge it.
Where I thought I muted, as far as I know.
Okay. So that is pretty close. We'll go to the end of the track and see if it still lines up. Sometimes their clock can be a little bit different than yours. And so if the audio is off a little bit, you have to make sure that you line it up at the end of the track as well. So you can hear it's off a little bit, right? So what we're going to do here, we're going to find a spot where he's not talking, which is, if I'm being honest, almost always the tournament section, because I talk a lot. Just going to give a little cut there so we are able to move the track earlier the next time we see it. And look how much it shifts an hour in, because everyone's sound cards record at slightly different speeds, right? So we're going to go here.
There's some
They can play it if they.
That's pretty close, right? See if we need to do that again at the end.
I was gonna have that. Okay. Anyway,
it's about under a second of difference. I think this is okay, right? But we can line it up again. I usually don't do more than a couple cuts, but it's gonna be close enough. No one's gonna notice except me, but might as well.
Yep, that all makes sense.
There we go. Beautiful. Save it. Let's do that with Kenny. I obviously don't need to do mine because the raw and my audio are lined up already. Start at the beginning of the file.
and
Not too far off.
yeah, I had.
Okay, beautiful. Go in, say here.
This was like a sleeper card from. I didn't.
It's pretty significant. So this right here is probably about this right here.
This was like a sleeper card from. I didn't think.
Yep. So we're gonna cut here. And we're cutting during silence, just so it's easier to line up the tracks. Okay. Should be able to line up about here.
From I didn't think I'd be seeing this kind of card.
Okay, pretty solid. Let's go to the end. How far off are we?
for several weeks.
That is still pretty close. So I might do one later in the episode, but Kenny's tends to be a little bit less wonky. It doesn't really slide around as much. They're all off by just a smidge, right? But it's rarely a major issue. Let's see. I'll just nudge this back here. And we can kind of see the shape of the audio.
So you can pick your favorite one.
I do a lot of visual-based editing. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we're lined up. At this point, there's a few things we have to do. The effects are built in. That's nice and quick. So what I have to do is eliminate some crosstalk. And I don't eliminate all the crosstalk on purpose. Just the times where it's extraneous, I eliminate a lot of the times where we talk shop, and I edit in the bumpers. We actually got a request this week to edit in the bumpers and fade them about halfway through the bumpers. So we're going to try it out and see how we like it. Yeah, I don't need the raw anymore, so we're only going to solo this bus. The raw is just going to chill. And we're going to go to the beginning of the episode, which you can kind of see. Zoom out a lot. So this right here is the guitar.
Hi, this is Dwayne.
Okay, so we're going to cut. Anything that happened before here, I don't need. I know everybody's lined up. You just get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Now, Bodicus, I don't know what that was. I think that's typing.
This is Dwayne. Also,
Oh, that's typing. So, there are two ways to deal with this. I like silencing it, but you can also cut it. Alright, silence. You see I have a shortcut here. I use this a lot. And it just goes away, right? You just highlight it, and it goes away. And you'll notice the noise gating on bots audio as well is pretty aggressive. If I turn it off. The background noise. Again, the condenser just picks up everything, so it has a much more aggressive noise gate. But we don't need to turn it off. We know how good it is. And I'll share these presets with anyone. They require a little bit of fiddling, but the 5 that I have here, I'm pretty happy with them. So, crosstalk, bumpers, and then I marked off any bits of shop talk that I want to get rid of. I do this during the show because, honestly, what I should do is listen through the entire episode and edit as I go. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. So instead, I mark the parts where I need to edit, and I just kind of breeze through it and look for things like this. This is not what speech looks like. Speech looks like this. You can kind of see the movement and the amount of sound editing. The amount of sound that's going through. This is just kind of interference, so I'll listen to it briefly, just get an idea of what's going on here, and then usually just silence it. If there's any significant crosstalk, I'll usually silence it, and then if we talk about something that we talk about on the show that I don't need on the episode, like if we talk about it live, I'll usually just pull it out. So, what do we have here? We have Dwayne. Dwayne.
Hi, this is Dwayne.
Okay.
Greetings.
Okay, so where do we end?
The competitive side of the game more accessible to you.
So the first bumper, I'll usually clip right here, because I can work backwards from the first bumper, and only the first bumper. So I go right to the media browser here. Got all my bumpers right here. And the intros. Where is he? I think it's this one.
DRC.
Nope. Where are you? Happy Hearthstone, that's Cream Puff, which is awesome. Tier 5. Where are you, Major Death intro? Oh, for some reason he's in the wrong folder. Okay, so we need the greetings intro first, which is a substantial piece of audio. We just line it up here. And we don't have to worry about leaving silence. We're going to try fading things in a little bit more. We don't have to worry about leaving silence because I delete all silence automatically. If it's over 5 seconds, it gets nice and shortened. So we can leave big chunks of silence and it'll get dealt with. So we'll drag this right here. And for some reason, snapping seems like it's off. Nope, never mind. There we go. All right, so we'll go back to the end of the intro. We can fade it out a little bit. It already has a pretty decent fade, but I think that should be fine. Okay.
Hello, everyone, and
So what we're going to do is we're going to try and move this forward a little bit. See if we can get a more aggressive fade. Let's try this.
hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of Coin Concede, a Hearthstone podcast.
I don't mind that, but I messed something up, right? Did you notice that I messed something up? This is supposed to be on track 5. Track 5 is my media track. It's not supposed to go through all the different effects. So, notice I cut it out of my audio, spliced in here. So we want to line this up right when Kenny starts talking. Right about there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of Coin Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you.
That's kind of nice. Okay. What do we think?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of Coin Concede.
Why can I hear that twice? I hear that twice. I'm trying to figure out why. Because this is muted. Shouldn't be playing. Oh, because I didn't cut it out of the end of my audio. I'm dumb. Here. Much better. And a lot of this is just listening to the same stuff over and over again, so get used to that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of Coin Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to...
I think that sounds good. I think we can actually fade it a little bit more aggressively. Because once he starts talking, we really want it to go away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of Coin Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. My name is Kenny, and I go by KCCO Gamer. And
I think that fade is too slow.
hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of Coin Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. My name is Kenny, and I go by KCCO Gamer.
I don't need the rest of that clip.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of Coin Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you.
That's nice. Okay. You can see that blip like I talked about. Sometimes Audition does that. Just have to get rid of it this way. And then sometimes it thinks for some reason the key point is all the way through, so you just have to clip it out. Okay. All right. That worked out pretty well.
Yes, you do. How's it going, buddy?
And what you can kind of see over time as well is you get an idea for what certain patterns look like. Like, look at these. How much is this software? $20 a month. This is $20 a month. It's
Wow.
Audition. And you can see like some of these small blips. They are. Oh, hello, Stray Dog. Don't worry, this will all be recorded and it will be gone
920
back
already.
over repeatedly.
That's cool.
So you can kind of hear Bodicus like these little blips.
Wow.
So sometimes the mute button, we get rid of those. Oh, it's doing this again. Oh, we can razor it. And yeah, I don't anticipate this taking 4 hours just because I should listen through the entire thing. I'm not going to. I'll tell you that right now. Yep, there's a click. Okay, for some reason this is not letting me only silence that section, because usually I'm able to only silence that section with this little shortcut. Whatever, is what it is. Let's see. I want to silence that shortcut change. Doesn't matter. Point here is, so I can go, what, here, 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 here. This goes down. This goes down. Easy enough. Oh, you listen to the whole thing at 2x speed? That makes sense. How long does the average episode take to edit? I'd say 2 to 3 hours. I've gotten a little bit faster at it because what I'm doing now, which you'll see later, is I'll show you. I'm marking things as we record, and that makes things a lot easier to deal with because I know where to go and look. Yeah, wasn't anything said that needed to be cut. So because we do the live show, I mark it whenever I listen to something that wants to be cut. And really, like, I could do a slightly better job scanning for crosstalk and crosstalk. You can see, like, if there's ever You just make any line. If there's people talking here and here and here, one of them needs to go. The little blips, like you saw in Bodica's audio there, I just need to make sure I do a better job of removing those.
So I was
Let's see. So frustrating. I don't know why it will. Because this is supposed to silence only that particular thing. Let's see. Clip. Yeah, it's not letting me silence the way that I want to, because I want to silence only that particular. Let's see if I do Control K. Okay, yeah, so Control K works fine. And yeah, there will be technical difficulties. Last week, Bodicus lost his recording for about half an hour. He ran out of disk space. And it's very easy for that to happen. It's happened to us before. He got it back by deleting stuff, but for 30 minutes of the episode, I had to splice in the raw audio. You know, it doesn't sound quite the same. It's fine. It is what it is. But you have to anticipate those sort of things. They're going to happen. Okay, so a little bit of crosstalk here. Yeah. Nope. Okay, what? Control K.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What is the Control K, but only can't do it while it's playing. It's annoying. I made that shortcut to save myself some time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So let's see. And here you can kind of see a little bit of crosstalk. So let's see what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to cast it with
There we go. That's how that's supposed to work.
Storm Rage from the Blizzlet podcast, and that was a
Hey Appa, how's it going, man? Strip silence. Yeah, we have strip silence. I have a silence eliminator. Yeah, 1 to 1.5 times the episode length to edit is pretty good. I think I put this marker here for this crosstalk
on our channel if you want to go back and check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to cast it with none other than Storm Rage from.
Yep. So I have those markers there whenever I want to get something, but I want to keep in like the laughter and the conversation. It's kind of relaxing watching someone else do this. Well, I'm glad to relax, and I'm glad to provide a little bit of explanation and insight into how this goes.
I had to ditch it in order to
like that kind of crosstalk, that kind of laughter. You want to keep it, and that's why the dexplanations I'll usually edit a little bit less aggressively because I want that kind of live conversational feel to it. And the only way to really get that is you have the idea of a bunch of people in a room talking to each other. Now here, there's something going on.
Well, so we should talk about it. There's a lot of different community involvement this week. So for those of you that don't know, we had a listener league.
So like this could stay in. I think it adds a little bit of value.
So we should talk about it. There's a lot of different community involvement this week. So for those of you that don't know.
But if I just get rid of it.
So we should talk about it. There's a lot of different community involvement this week. So for those of you that don't know,
I think that sounds a lot cleaner, so we'll just leave it that way. There's a little bit here, but like laughter we want to keep in.
Kenny 1-3.
Same.
Yeah.
No, Kenny 1-2.
Or Kenny 1-2.
1-2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because it was best of 3, and it was all 9 classes. It was unified between the 3. So I played
So that kind of interaction, I think, makes it... Stray Dog, have a good night. I think this kind of interaction makes a lot of sense in the context of the podcast. It's not quite talking over. I'd have to eliminate my and then get rid of the silence.
Kenny 1-3.
Same.
Yeah.
No, Kenny 1-2.
Or Kenny 1-2.
1-2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because it was best of 3, and it was all 9 classes. It was unified.
I don't think that sounds awkward on the show, so we're going to leave it. Let's see. This looks like laughter to me.
Sitting over here, Mr. Bodicus. And then we're all...
Yeah, you can kind of see it where it happens.
It was definitely a very aggressive lineup.
And then, well, we've got a couple other blips here.
And Super Duper was a little slower than me, but not by a lot. And all the games came...
So I don't mind this, right? This stuff can stay.
Turn 8, I played 2 more.
Because we're not a radio show where everyone's just quiet in the background.
Turns out 6. That match was over. So that match was over in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Fast forward. Because I didn't... Over? All right, I guess I'm going to go check out the...
So let's see. I have a marker here. Let's see why. And then I always look up here as well. You can kind of tell clips. They're pretty distinctive. And because I record only in mono, if I have any stereo clips, I have to replace them. For mono clips, I don't have to, but it sounds better if I do.
It was all fun. I had more fun this time than last time, though. I was a little more stressed because I was playing on mobile last time.
Frothing Berserker had a very large thirsty blade in your.
Oh. Appa, thank you for the subscription. That was not in the audio. Thank you, Appa. I will taste it.
Frothing Berserker had a very large thirsty blade in your last game.
I think it hit him
Apparently
for 7,
it's thirsty. I just found out today that it's thirsty.
Let's put this question out to our listeners. If you didn't know before right now...
The final mix, no, I send the final mix to stereo. I keep it in stereo. I duplicate my own audio. Everyone else stays in stereo. Though Kenny records in mono, Bot records in stereo. And I don't know if that makes a difference. But I do send the final mix to stereo, I think. I actually don't know. I should look at that. So I marked that just to get rid of that little bit of crosstalk.
Please tweet at us or engage with us in Discord.
But this is definitely laughter. You can kind of tell that.
How many people misheard this? Because apparently this is a situation that I was just unaware of. This is like finding out that people thought the TLC song was called Jason Waterfalls.
Hey, look, it sounds...
Yeah. File size is smaller in mono. That makes sense.
Tweet at us or... I'm just deeply...
Hey, look, it sounds like a hard...
Okay, so this sounds like good back and forth. You'll notice we are 12 minutes into the episode.
All right.
We should make a poll on Twitter, on our Coin Concede Twitter. Maybe I'll have you do that when we're done.
If you hear this and you have ever misheard...
Okay, we're fine.
Promise you will not be judged. Just want to...
There, it actually worked this time. Hooray. Okay, so this... very obviously a bumper. Look at the evenness and the particular nature of this track right here. Okay? And it's, again, it's in mono. It's a stereo bumper. I should probably down mix it. I'm just going to clip it. Scroll down here. And we're going to line up the news bumper, creatively named news. Okay? Now, again, we received... It's a short bumper, but let's try fading it a little bit. Let's try that.
All right, so the first item up.
That sounds really nice. Let's listen to the whole thing.
All right, so the first item up.
Thanks for coming, Steve. Have a good night. Appreciate you being here as always. That sounds really good.
All right, so the first item up.
Okay, we'll try some more aggressive fades, especially for some of the longer bumpers. We got some crosstalk here.
About.
Oh, come on, you know who you are.
But it's okay. I put this news item here, but me and Bot and all of Twitter have been talking about this Tavern Brawl. So the Tavern Brawl today.
I want Bot to say it's both of us, but I don't shut up. So what can I say?
I put this news item here, but me and Bot and
yeah, I want to get rid of something.
This news item here, but me and Bot and all.
So I'm talking about it. I can get rid of that. Yeah, that can go away.
And
5 mana auctioneer.
In cases costing 5 mana. Gadget and
5 mana auctioneer.
In cases costing 5 mana. And Leroy in that same occasion costing 4 mana. And yes, there is a Miracle Rogue deck. Though actually that version didn't play Leroy. Nope, it played Southsea Deckhand and Faceless.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to get rid of this too, because it just sounds a little sloppy.
Though actually that version didn't play Leroy. Nope, it played Southsea Deckhand and Faceless. And it...
Sounds fine, though. More laughter.
Like, I just could not stop hitting play.
Alright. A little bit of crosstalk here.
It made me just go like...
So I haven't... I haven't played it yet. Is it randomly select?
Just go like...
So I haven't... I haven't played it yet. Is it randomly?
So where is this bit?
Oh, it made me just go like.
Okay. I guess I will do the right thing, and usually these smaller sound bites, I don't always split them out and replace them, just because they sound fine in mono, and you don't really notice them, but I should. So we'll just do it.
Like.
Yeah, sounds fine. Zoom it back out, a little bit of crosstalk here.
Quite a few of them. Like I really wanted to play Patron.
Yeah.
I got to
But
play.
you're gonna see a lot of the same ones that are doing well.
But I
At
kind
least
of want to
that's
see
how
the
they've
meta,
worked
right?
in
Would the
past.
meta evolve?
Yeah.
This got a little sloppy.
Yeah.
I got to
But
play.
you're gonna see a lot of the same ones that are doing well.
But I
At least
kind of
that's
want to see
how
the
they've
meta,
worked
right?
in
Would the
past.
meta evolve?
A lot of the same ones that are doing well.
But I
At least
kind of
that's
want to see
how
the
they've
meta,
worked
right?
in
Would the
past.
meta evolve
Yeah.
that like there's a lot of Miracle Rogue, and so then you counter that with Face Hunter, and then you counter the Face Hunter with mid range
point.
Shaman, and then mid range Shaman gets countered with Freeze Mage. Like, would there be a meta in this? If you
I should have waited to talk here. There's not really a graceful way to
The
split
same
this.
ones that are doing well.
But I
At least
kind of
that's
want to see
how
the
they've
meta,
worked
right?
in
Would the
past.
meta evolve?
Yeah.
That,
All right, well,
but I
At least
kind of
that's
want to.
how doing well.
But I kind of want to see the meta, right?
That
Would the
sounds
meta
alright.
evolve
Yeah.
that like there's a lot of Miracle Rogue, and so then you counter that with Face Hunter, and then you counter the Face Hunter with mid
got a
range
point.
Shaman, and then mid range Shaman gets countered with.
this is Adobe Audition Appa. This is audio only. It's $20 a month, and it is fantastic. It's really good. Okay. Not a ton of crosstalk here, but a little bit of mine.
Yeah,
Good.
except that was back when Soulfire cost 0.
Zero, zero man.
You can't do
Soulfire.
that. That's not okay.
Power overwhelming a Nerubian egg and then eat it with a void. Oh,
It's
okay.
it's you got until Sunday. I think there's a really good chance my stream tomorrow will just be 2 hours of Tavern Brawl. Like, it's by far the most fun game mode right now.
Okay.
Yes, but these are more free
yeah,
packs.
But, yeah, so every
even more.
day for the next 3 days, you'll be getting a free pack for just logging in.
Just logging in.
Today is Ungoro. Tomorrow will be Knights of the Frozen Throne, and the day after will be. It is consecutive days, right? I'm not messing that
Yours truly. Yep.
up. Okay.
During
and
Sunday,
then,
the finale.
and then
Okay. Yeah, Appa, I think it'll be cool for you to start recording stuff too. I'm looking forward to it. The article you wrote was really nice. Nice and clean here. Did the news already.
It's
the
Mr.
Build a Beast
Build a
Hunter?
Beast. I don't know. It's I
Okay.
don't know how to say
And
the person's name, but it is in here. You just have to be able to
Yes.
read. I think it is Mandarin.
Yeah. And then Jombra's.
Okay.
It's a little
has it
weird,
ever?
right?
Have
Like,
they ever?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I've got something I want to edit here, obviously.
And the third one is weird, right? Like I've
the
seen some
Spell
of these
Hunter.
evolve. I've seen a few of these evolve lists, but like Leroy Jenkins. I've seen a few of these evolve lists, but like Leroy Jenkins. These evolve. Some of these evolve.
So I think it's here.
Seen some of these evolve. I've seen a few of these evolve lists, but like Leroy Jenkins.
It,
And the third one is weird, right? Like I've.
Don't need me.
And the third one is weird, right? Like. And the third.
It's right about here.
Right.
Okay.
I've seen a few of these evolve lists, but like Leroy Jenkins, I haven't seen that.
I think that's much smoother.
Weird, right? I've seen a few of these evolve lists, but
Yeah. It sounds weird with the silence into it, but it'll be a nice transition on the show.
yeah.
that could very well be a big reason why they're putting something like this out.
And I'm not sure we're gonna get a better segue than that.
You want to take it? Take it.
So I want to talk about fun and balance, and I want to talk a lot about the
that could very well be a big reason why they're putting something like this out.
And I'm not sure we're going to get a better segue than that.
Let's see.
Yeah, you want to take it? Take it.
So I want to talk about fun and balance.
I can just remove that, and it's nice and clean. This is me talking at length. I get used to just scrolling through my own crap
I
repeatedly.
don't know, Bot, Kenny, what do you guys think?
I'll let
Yeah.
Bot go first.
So I don't know. It's weird for me because I think you made a really good point that, a big
Okay. You can just edit out the little things, and marking it during the show really saves a lot of time. Really saves a lot.
I think they both mentioned us as a podcast. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, just get ready, Appa. I think you'll really enjoy this episode. I wonder what your perspective on it is as someone that kind of left the game for a little bit and came back.
I'm gonna refer to what Bonica said and use those words, but I disagree with the words he chose. That I don't think he meant it this way. But we're not trying to stay positive. We are positive. Like we're the reason why we do this podcast is to make things. I'm gonna refer to what Bonica said and use those words, but I disagree with the words he chose. That I don't think he meant it this way. But we're not trying to stay positive.
Here, I think this is a little bit distracting.
I think they both mentioned us as a podcast. We're not trying to stay positive. We are positive. Like we're the reason why we do this podcast is to make things more accessible to you, to give a different aspect, to look at something a different way, not just to try and keep positive like it's not positive for us. Like we like doing the things that make those bad experiences you listeners have and making them better. Or everyone loves winning, so if we can increase your win rate, that makes you happier as a player and enjoying playing more. So hopefully that's what we're accomplishing. So sorry to kind of misconstrue your words, but I think that's what you meant.
That's what I meant. Is just.
I think that's what you meant.
That's what I meant. Is just.
Yeah.
So we get to kind of go here.
To kind of miscon. Sorry to kind of miss.
So we can kind of take out this bit here where they're figuring out what they're trying to say, and just make that not happen.
That's what I meant. Is just. Yeah. It's important. Being positive, I think, is important.
And you get to keep the same tone of the conversation. It just moves a little bit smoother and removes a lot of the back and forth that happens in the nature of a live show. We just give it a little bit more polish.
Yep.
Yeah, and we want to be honest too, right? We don't want to say everything is fine. Just go ahead and play these 0-mana 5/5s and patch.
Oh yeah, complaining about Corridor Creeper and patches. Yeah, sounds like me.
Yep.
Exactly. Good point.
What is this? This looks like a mute button.
And getting better.
Nope, that was a laugh. Is this a clip?
It's the
Sure is.
Yes, we do.
It's the club.
Should be about here.
This is the most.
All right. So we're gonna take. Where is our grand tournament clip? So the grand tournament clip is a little different, right? Because it's got a lot of dead air at the end, believe it or not, and then it's harder to fade. Hey Tim, how's it going, buddy? I think so. This one, I really want the toot. How many times in my life have I said that? see.
It's the grand tournament.
This is the most appropriate time of the year to play the grand.
All right, that sounds fine. Honestly, it's the toot is so important that we have to keep it there, so we're just gonna leave it just like this. But I think the idea of a more aggressive cut actually makes the show sound way better. Something happened here.
GMT tomorrow, and 6:30 p.m. tomorrow if you were in Sydney, Australia. Good day, mate. Hope that isn't too stereotypical. Yeah, it's fine.
Listener will tell you.
It's fine. Yes, we have quite a few Australian listeners that will all tell me how much of a jerk I am being. So we have these same.
We're gonna edit that whole thing out.
It's 11:30 p.m. Pacific time tonight, 7:30 a.m. GMT tomorrow, and 6:30.
Where is this?
We have the same information as last. How much of a jerk I am being. So we have these.
Let's take right here. Trying to remember how far back to go.
Tonight, 7:30 a.m. GMT.
Here, that's a nice segue. That just means that everything here gets to be silenced as well. We'll just clip it. It adds a little bit of flavor, but I don't want to stereotype people. That is stereotypical, but I'm willing to let it pass the trade-off for the info in local time zones. So I took out that entire bit. You're not going to hear Sydney time in the show. I'm glad I brought it up, but I'd rather remove that from the more professional, polished version. I'll leave it in the raw audio, and it's already passed, but it makes a pretty smooth transition here. And thank you for the info, Chris. Smiley Chris.
GMT.
And this is a fairly nice
We have the same information.
transition right there, so that's totally fine. Yeah. I would have liked to have included it, but I feel good about removing it.
Sounds good. Roll with it.
If you're a listener.
See.
So the metagame, a lot of homogeneity. Is that how I say it? Homogeneity? Homogeneity?
Sounds good. Roll with it.
If you're a listener and you know how to pronounce that, tweet that at me as well as what you think about Frothing Berserker. So we've got Corridor Creepers in 26.
All right, I think that worked out just fine.
Reasonable inclusion. There are also a lot of skull.
Okay.
Surprising amount of aggro druids. But you've been playing a bunch of aggro druid, right?
And by the way, this is basically all that's left. Dropping in bumpers, editing crosstalk. Tim, I am a chronic laughter baiter. Be aware of that. I laugh at my own jokes frequently.
Based on when they submitted these.
Get rid of that.
Druid, which is super weird, but you just stop them forever, run them out of cards, and you geist them. And you've got double twisting nether, siphon soul, and a.
Yeah, I laugh at my own cleverness quite frequently. I have been told once that by a person that they think I'm funny, but they don't think I'm as funny as I think I'm funny.
This weekend.
Yeah, there were a lot of.
Okay, looks fine.
Rogue is a lot of them are removing them.
You can kind of see the back and forth here between me and bot, and I really want to keep that in.
Yep.
Way more funny
And
than I am
Raza is
famous.
boring.
Oh, please.
Every single Raza list is like within 2 cards of each other.
Tim, you are welcome to link your video for Tim's team. You should, in fact. If any of you are not familiar with Tim's team, you should know about Tim's team.
I think 4 or 5 of them have Rin.
Let's see here.
No, I 100% agree.
Yep, and so
banning Warlock.
Banning Warlock, target Priest. But
Go watch that video. That's about Tim's team.
So
I'm sure others may have that same
it's
question.
a good point.
So, that's why
So
I
we're
asked.
trying to. I mean, the Raza lists are all the same. I don't think there's a significant gap in technology there.
Just a quick question. I'm trying to rack my brain why you're saying Lich King is good for that deck. I'm sure others may have that same
It's a
question.
good point.
So, that's why
So
I
we're
asked.
trying to when you're playing against Priest, right? You're trying to maintain steady pressure and overload their removal. And
I think that works.
that deck,
Gotcha. So it's not just the Lich King itself. It's just the overall strategy of having Lich King after their answers.
yeah. Well, it's
like having
if
something.
I
Gotcha.
play the Lich King and you're a control deck and you don't answer it or kill me, you're gonna die to it, and it's gonna generate a lot of pressure. You could get a death coil off. That means the only way to.
Yeah, and
Good,
control
thanks.
yourself also brings up a good point about you're seeing not a lot of spellbreakers in these lists, which
Okay, something happened here.
I just happened to pick Kalento because Appa told me to.
It's a safe bet. If you picked him because his name was
There you go.
Kalento, if Bodic's like, well, I looked at his decks, and I looked at the name, and it was Kalento on the top, so that's why I picked him, I'd be like, that's a good choice. I can't really argue with that.
So hopefully we get you some packs.
yeah, hopefully.
Anything else you'd like to add, Hat?
Yeah, I was thinking I hadn't talked enough, but, you know, maybe. Yeah, I'm good.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Whoa. I think we're covered pretty much on that. You wanna? We'll move forward then. So let me share the iTunes. Thank you. So
Say we can take here. Kalento, I think, would have been a good choice. I picked Tom 60229 because he's a god. And then we transition here into.
we'll move forward then. So let me share the iTunes. Thank you. So
Oh, you're the most heavy metal thing I've ever seen.
thank you for.
So let's see. We clip out. Salt, the glue that keeps us together. Yes, salt is quite a glue. So we'll take this. Where's my heavy metal? I think it's other. Nope. Oh, it's probably your heavy metal.
Whoa.
That makes sense.
Whoa, you're the most heavy metal thing I've ever seen.
Thank you, Faluza, for.
You're the most heavy metal thing I've ever seen.
Thank you, Faluza, for being heavy metal there. I titled it pretty good. Great podcast with. Thank you, Faluza, for.
Yeah, I think I want a more smooth drop, but I want to hear the.
Thank you, Faluza, for being heavy metal there. I titled.
There. We just have to drop more aggressively.
Ever seen.
Thank you, Faluza, for being heavy metal there. I.
That sounds really good. Okay. Misunderstood the format. Appa, what do you think was different based on what you saw versus what you were expecting to happen? I think Aggro Druid underperforming really surprised me.
So thank you very much for your feedback. We appreciate it. We take feedback to heart. I think Kat wanted to say something here real quick.
I edit the bumpers in post-production. I just drop them in, so I'm going to try more aggressively crossfading them and see if it makes the episode a little bit shorter and makes the transitions a little bit more clean. And thank you very much for the feedback.
Okay. We tried it. Yeah, so
All right.
Animore is Tim. So if you like that video, you like Tim. Tim's a great dude.
for the thank yous. Thank you for that. If you'd like to leave a thank you, again, we include the link in the show itself embedded in the MP3. So if you want
Oh, you thought Tempo Rogue was worse? Yeah, Aggro Druid in general has been underperforming for me because Control Warlock actually beats Jade Druid.
to click on your
And
device and leave a review
Tempo Rogue is the nuts and one of the better decks in the formats, and everyone should play it.
right there, you can, or you can check our show notes. It's on there as well, or the website www.coinconcede.com. So let's go into our explanations.
Get rid of this junk. Where are you, explanations? Yeah. Isn't that video super nice, Chris? Super duper nice. It's really sweet. And if I recall correctly, Tim, is that the same woman that you are dating? Remind me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the same woman. Let's fade this. And by dating, Tim, I mean that you're engaged to? Tim, oh my god, I'm going to take a second. All right. Let me tell you about the kind of person that Tim is. Tim, from Tim's team, is the kind of person that stays in touch with a girl across state lines. Then Tim is the kind of person that moves back home and takes her with him. Tim is the kind of person that stays with this woman for 7 years. And then she's gonna go on a family vacation. I forget where to. I feel like it was some kind of island. I think it was Hawaii, but I don't know if that's accurate. Or maybe it was. I don't know. And Tim lets her go by herself, but she does not know. Tim has bought a ticket. And Tim meets her at the top of a mountain. And she doesn't know that he's gonna be there. And he gets down on one knee and he pops out that ring. Pops it out. Tim is a good dude. And congratulations, my friend, on your engagement. This has been a moment where we talked about how great Tim is. There are many of these moments in my life, but this is the first one of them really sharing with you while I'm editing audio. I want you to all be aware how great he is and the wonderful boyfriend he is and husband he will be. Thank you, Stokes. I don't know what a mission whistle is, but I'm glad to be a part of it, I think. Oh, missile whistle. I don't think there was skydiving involved. And yeah, Appa, you are right. Control Warlock is... I thought Control Warlock did have better matchups, but I think because those decks weren't always planning on banning Priest, it got a little funky. And Rogue is just kind of good against everything. I cannot speak to Tim's missile whistling. I think the opportunity was good enough, though. I just feel good about it.
All right, so this.
I think we can even fade that more aggressively. Maybe we can do like here.
All right, so this week.
That is a long ass bumper. Viriatus.
All right, so this week we're going to be doing a little deck doctor segment, Mr. SC2 Forever.
All right, that sounds fantastic. We're definitely going to do that again. Because Tim is that kind of guy. Let's listen to that whole thing.
All right, so this week we're going to be doing a little deck doctor segment, Mr. SC2 Forever.
Yeah, that sounds really good. We're going to stick with that. I actually really like that suggestion. I'm glad that listener wrote in, because I think it makes it sound way better. This looks like laughter to me. Taylor's here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello, Taylor. Viriata's here, Taylor's here, Stokes is here, everybody's here.
The reason to play Tar Lurker is that the butt is larger.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a strategic recommendation.
So, This is the clip that made me realize I need to go get a Mixmaster mic clip. So we're going to see. We can do that right now, right? All right. And we're back. So we go here, here. So we're going to do exactly what you think. Oh, is Chrome muted?
I like big butts and I cannot lie. I like big.
All right. So we like that clip. We're going to download that. So we're going to take this clip and we're going to put it into. I want to show you how this process works. First of all, I'm going to take it. I'm going to put it into my bumpers folder. Let's go into the bumpers. Okay. Gonna name it Big Butts. Gonna bring this right into match loudness, right? We're gonna run it. So you see match loudness right here. We're gonna do save all. Okay.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
All right, that's fine. So now we have, so the match loudness, what that does is it makes it so that it matches a standard of loudness. So it makes sure the audio is all nice and even and level. We're going to go to our program here called Play It Cartwall. This is the infamous soundboard. Got a whole bunch of them. And they're all color-coded. So, and you just click it and it plays. And you can click it again to fade it out. So, so this is just, we don't need to do this right now, but I want to show you all how this works. We'll go into our folder. Where are you? Big Butts. Big Butts will go right here. Color it green.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Beautiful. So we have that for the future. We'll play that next time.
The reason to play Tar Lurker is that the butt is larger.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a strategic recommendation, but that's not what you said. You said there's no reason.
So we'll put that in a future episode. We have that now, just so you can see how that process works. And yeah, and that's how the famous soundboard works. Let's see, where's my media browser? Come back to you, and it should be in here. Yep, Big Butts right there. Theoretically drag it in. A little bit of crosstalk here.
Otherwise,
Yeah, and that's the cube version.
yeah,
right?
the cube version is probably just under 50%.
BO3 Conquest. Why is there a BO3 Conquest ever? In Conquest, usually the strategy I try to go for, if you can in any format, is bully one deck. And you try and bully Priest in this format, I think.
Oh, when they used to top over the Bloodworms.
Okay. And it doesn't look like there's a lot of bumpers left.
Then
Oh yeah,
Yes.
and you have the
then you want the
the
Bloodworms.
Zealot.
This is...
Playing Corpse Taker. That's a card. Like if you're playing Corpse Takers in your deck, then
Oh yeah,
Yes.
and you have the
then you want the
the
Bloodworms.
Zealot, the Tainted Zealot. Because
Yep.
then, if you have those in the deck, then it has everything except Windfear, right? It's a bubble taunt lifesteal. Oh yeah, and you have
then you want the
the
Bloodworms.
Zealot,
So, I'm gonna do something a little funky here. Can I do this? Just want to shimmy this here.
I don't know.
Bloodworm
I
seems like
see-
a card if you're playing Corpse Taker. That's a card like if you're playing Corpse Takers in your deck, then you want the Bloodworms.
Oh yeah, and you have the Zealot, the Tainted Zealot. Because then, if you have those in the deck, then it has everything except Windfear, right? It's a bubble taunt lifesteal. You could also, if you didn't want to play Spellbreaker or the Darkness, you could play Valinar, and it serves a
And
similar purpose.
I understand the Skulking Geist against Jade. If
It almost worked, but I don't like it. I do like this. I'm just gonna leave that the way it is. It's kind of awkward. I need to be better at not interrupting people. The best way to prevent yourself more work is don't do shit you would edit out of your podcast during your podcast. Don't clear your throat. Don't type. Don't mute yourself when you sneeze. A hard mute button is so important that if you're not talking, just be muted and keep your finger on the mute button. And that saves so much time in audio editing. Good habits save tons of time because there's already enough to deal with.
Also, if you didn't want to play Spellbreaker with
So I unfortunately have the bad habit of getting excited and talking.
Yeah.
But then you also still have Rin. So
Well,
there's
they
some
can play if they know you're trying to Rin them, then they can play around Rin
that's
with
true. It gives
Jade.
them plenty of time to
well,
do
they
that.
can
Well,
hold the
they-
Jade Idol
yeah.
in their hand,
Yeah.
and then after you get a Zaried, you just shuffle.
Rin
That's
with
true. It gives them
Jade.
plenty of time to
Well,
do
they
that.
can
Well,
hold
they-
the Jade Idol
yeah.
in their hand,
Yeah.
and then after you get a Zaried, you just shuffle it back in. And Skulking Geist is
Much smoother there.
and
Okay.
this deck doesn't have any Dark Packs. That's what it's missing. It has no
Hmm.
Dark Packs, and
Yeah.
because Dark Pact.
That's probably why the Bloodworm's in
Yeah,
there for the heal.
But you want to have at least one Dark Pact for eating the Possessed Lackey, because if you can eat that on turn 5,
All right, that 56 damage burst was absurd. Was actually insane. I saw that.
Yep.
And Azoth is a more win more card.
It can feel like
what
that.
else was I gonna
It
say?
definitely feels like that a lot of time, or at least it has felt like that to me.
You guys. So
But
that's kind of my breakdown of
yeah,
it.
N'Zoth also is like a
Yeah.
good portion of the meta.
Well, it's good and wild too.
So
yeah. Well, and it gains you back a lot of life. It's not just for Void Lords. It gets you back Plated Beetles and Mistress of Mixtures. So you get back a lot of cards that are relevant, and you get back Rin too.
yeah, that's the
So the consistency of the deck is a symptom of the format being as large as it is and the ability to build redundancy without the same cards.
Well, after
especially if
Void
you're
Lord.
running into especially if you're running
Okay. And this part of the episode is usually pretty straightforward because I like to keep it lighter editing. It's just really where you see the major crosstalk that I touched up.
And 2/3 that dealt 1.
And there's not a lot of bumpers here. I usually mark the bumpers when I say them, but I've been trying to make sure I'm judicious with them and use them where they belong, but also making sure they play mono so that if I miss one, it sounds fine.
which is a pretty
Huh.
sweet play.
That's really interesting.
Yep. Health.
Let's see. Plenty of back and forth here. There's some laughter.
But it's out discarding
And
cards,
don't discarding cards yet.
which is also great. And then yes.
Fortunately,
Well, you only get a free 10/10.
only if but
There's a lot of
But-
bang for your butt. Ah.
it's just real soft.
I'll leave that in there, I suppose.
What are your
that's
guys'
just
stance
been
on
crazy.
Nosferatu? I kind of talked about it a little bit. Do you think it's worth including in either any of these versions, standard or wild?
So
It depends on if you're playing singleton decks versus singleton decks.
I don't think that's
still
the
don't know if I would
I don't
do
think
it.
that's the approach I would take with it. I think it's worth playing in fatigue matchups, because if you were expecting to get rid of a single card,
Yeah, it's the sheer amount of cycling and the amount of card draw it has is one thing, but also the number of board clears it has, they're different, but they're redundant. The number of cycling cards, they're different, but they're redundant. The number of removal spells, they're different, but they're redundant. And it's meant to churn through the entire deck and do one thing very particularly and survive while it's doing so. So the deck, if you break it down into mass removal, point removal, card draw, healing, win conditions, is probably about 20% of each. That means 1 out of 5 of each of these cards is going to get you one of those effects, right? Because you're going to draw a bunch of cards, and then you're going to get some kind of mass removal spell. Maybe it's Dragonfire Potion, maybe it's Psychic Scream. I don't know. You're going to get some kind of point removal card. There's a lot of stuff. Yes, podcasts are good. Hello, Blister. Yeah, running multiple cards. So you're not running multiple of cards, but you are running multiple of effects, which at a certain point becomes the same thing. It's like how Druid had Innervate, Wild Growth, Mire Keeper, Jade Blossom, Nourish. A third of the deck was Mana Ramp. So you didn't always get the same Mana Ramp card, but they all ramped you. And that meant UI came down on turn 6.
Better tools for that.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah,
I see
I'm
what
not
you're
a fan
saying.
of it, but I could definitely see if you're expecting a.
Let's see. There's a lot of conversation here.
Yeah,
It's not consistent. So those are just the 3 cards that are Mal'Ganis, Wild.
Do they play Emperor Thaurissan?
Sometimes, yeah.
That card seems real good.
It is good.
And
8
also,
mana Blood Reaver Gul'dan.
you can play Dark Bomb. Remember
Ooh,
Dark Bomb?
Yeah, I've seen that too.
I missed that
That's
card.
a very common one too. I missed that one.
Yeah, well, it's
I'll bet
Dark
it.
Bomb. It's like, it's the unsung hero, right? No one's like, oh, he gets to play 2 mana, deal 3 damage, but it matters a lot.
Yeah.
Hello, Abichu. Yeah, it is fairly busy. This is Adobe Audition. It's pretty intense. I mean, we've been doing this for how long? We've been doing this now, or a little over an hour. We're actually more than halfway through. I'm making really good time, probably because I'm focused and not multitasking. Oh, I'm not clicking something, Blister. It's Control Alt Shift D. Silences the selected clips. So I made a shortcut for this because I did it so often. Almost all of the audio editing is apply the presets, remove the noise, listen through, clip out the bumpers and replace them with unedited, unprocessed versions, eliminate crosstalk, mix down, remove silence, post. So that's what we're going to do. Also, we'll accept nominations for the title of this episode. I got to figure one out because I also got to make the header. Oh, you manually add a point? Yeah, so highlight with this silent selected clips and time selection, just make a shortcut for it. And it's really useful because it's a lot faster. You can do it while you're listening back. Because, yeah, the manually adding points takes forever.
Remember Dark Bomb?
Yeah, I've seen that too.
I missed that
That's a
card.
very common one too. I missed that.
The episode is about... What is the episode about? Let's see. Oh, yeah, obviously you can't just silence parts of yours. Yeah, that makes sense. The episode is about, let's see, ladder, how great this tavern brawl is. Let's see, fun and balance. Some tournament results. We got a nice little graphic here. Let's see. Warlock, talking about Warlock and explanations there. And then some decisions here about legendaries. And yeah, Blister, the appeal of yours is a little bit different. Let's see. So we talk a good amount about Control Warlock, a good amount about fun and balance, and a good amount about tournament analysis. And it's probably actually just going to be named Bang for Your Butt, right? Because that's the name of... And we'll get a little Void Lord graphic. That's what we're going to do in honor of Ronka. And Ronka Roido is the person that came up with the term Bang for Your Butt, and I've used it multiple times. So we'll do that, and we'll put a little Void Lord on the graphic.
Yeah, well, it's
I'll bet
Dark
it.
Bomb. It's like, it's the unsung hero, right? No one's like, oh, he gets to play 2 mana, deal 3 damage, but it...
Okay. Let's see. Brawls and balance or the butt thing. Appa, I'm gonna do the butt thing.
So yeah, just my quick little side note there. I wanted to add at the end.
Yeah, so I am not really much of a control player. I've been trying to pick this up because it's a deck that if you're playing...
Oh, but seeing me do things, yeah. A lot of what we did, like the effects rack we went over in the beginning, these are all presets at this point. I've done them so many times. And it's an order that definitely works for me. They're removing noise audios from the individual tracks. We'll do the mixing down and the silence removal at the end, and while we do that, we'll go ahead and make the episode cover.
How it functions.
I have one more I didn't think of. I've seen Baron Rivendare sometimes too with some of the death rattles.
Ooh,
Can
that's
be
saucy.
pretty crazy too.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a lot of death rattles.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the other segment bumper, if I recall correctly. Yep, that's Rock is Dead. Okay. So who talks first and Rock is dead? Okay. Here. 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 Have me on TV. That is an honor. Appa, thank you for coming as always.
All right. So,
right.
oh, sorry.
I'm gonna jump in here. I want to apologize.
This goes away. This goes away.
Rock is
I'm gonna jump in here. I want to apologize ahead of time that we have been saying we were going to prioritize this for several weeks. Same with the deck docker too. So we got around to it. So my apologies, and go ahead and take it.
Rock is
I'm gonna jump in here. I want to apologize.
I don't love how that sounds. I think this one I can actually keep it at a more lenient fade because of the nature of how short it is.
Rock is dead.
I'm gonna jump in here.
All right,
I
that
want to
sounds
apologize.
much better. Much, much better.
So I like you were kind of play whatever
Okay.
lethal, but I was thinking he's like, yeah, I see.
I love when Kenny gets going, man. Really like when he starts going in his long segments. Like, there aren't a lot of protracted Kenny segments, but whenever they get going, I feel like they really add a lot of value.
What do you think, Hat?
So, final decision, just go.
All right. That's when I adjusted the clock.
Very well put.
I like all of our answers. You can pick your favorite one or just combine them all together.
Well, no, you have to choose which answer is best and make a final decision.
But you gotta think about what you're gonna play though.
Yeah, well, which answer will be the
okay.
best 2 episodes from now?
There you
Right.
go, yeah.
What if we change hosts? What then? We're playing around your question.
I think you should choose one of them, try it a bunch of times, and if it's not working,
Okay. That's fine. And the crosstalk, again, it actually adds value there and subtracts it, so I'm going to keep it there. There's something here, though.
UI, I think, also falls under that category.
Yeah,
right?
that would be great. That would be a perfect legendary.
Yeah, so my need.
This is talking about, this segment is talking about making cards legendary, because Appa talked about making Gadget legendary, and I think it spawned a really interesting conversation.
It'd be
just an
like Auction
auctioneer.
Master. It'd be Auction Master or something, right?
Well, it's
Yeah.
Trade Prince Galawix would.
Okay, I think that sounds fine.
But
Nope.
Blood Mage Thalnos, I think, is.
All right.
Yep, that all makes sense.
Yeah, I have a quick fire question. Can we do that?
Yeah.
We got enough time.
Yep.
Let's see.
All right, Hat. You can take
Oh
some
yes,
time
let's
to
go
answer
for
too.
the short answer from Ridiculous Hat. That'll happen.
Yeah.
Aggro Paladin has more burst. I feel like when I lose to it, that it's a better deck.
Okay, we talk about Paladin there.
I'm muting you.
I like
Okay, what happens here?
so if you like
can this go on?
yes. If you want to
That's a nice short bumper. Track from me is going to make you tear at your hair, but it's Blister, a solo host does not need the same kind of crosstalk editing. I wouldn't do this to your cast because your cast is different. Though if you're talking about, oh, you want to be on this show? Absolutely, I want you on. I can fix you. I will fix you, Blister. I'll fix you good. I 100% want you on the show. I just lined up a guest today that I think is going to be pretty exciting. I think that everyone in this chat will be pretty excited by it. Let's see, what do we have here?
I don't think he's ready to play. I don't think he's ready to play it.
I almost thought you were gonna miss it. I was gonna be sad. I love that bumper.
Never. I never miss it.
All right. I'm going to start with my shout out so you guys can prepare for yours. I'm going to shout out to Blue Spartan.
That doesn't need to be there.
All right. I'm going to start with my shout out.
I think that's actually Bodicus.
All right. I'm going to start with my.
Okay, we've got shout outs. These usually are pretty good as is.
So,
Well, and
thanks for
and
catching my mistake.
Did you learn how good?
Thanks. So,
Well, and
thanks for
and
catching my mistake.
Did you
Oh, that's gonna
learn
go
how
away.
good that evolve can be at the end of that match? Because I
Oh
don't want
my
to spoil it, but
God.
it was one of the most fun games I've ever seen.
It's one thing why I want to do more casting so I can maniacally for 30 seconds while they're trying to finish the game.
But what else can you do in those very hectic 30 seconds?
Not a whole lot,
Neither could they. Turns out.
turns out.
I won't spoil
Alright,
it, but I
who do
will
you
say
shout
they
out?
finished the match just in time. So, anyways,
See what you did there.
I got a bunch of shout.
If you didn't watch the Ziggy Sarah match from week 1 in UHL, you should go watch it. It was one of the most fun endings I've ever seen.
Legendary.
Quite. Wait for it. Where's this button?
Whoa, legendary.
Legendary. Very impressed by the play. Y'all be.
Leave that right there.
This weekend, because I'll be in San
Okay. And where's my coin concede?
Diego.
So I cut off right after I start talking. And then we cut into Bodicus. And all the rest of the audio goes away. That actually went pretty quick. This is an easy one. Let's see. Death Knight outro. And so we'll start it nice and slow from when Kenny starts talking. Let's try, see how this sounds.
On ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
That sounds really nice.
If you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
I'm going to move Bodicus a little bit earlier.
Coin concede.
Concede.
Coin concede.
Marvelous. All right. We delete this track. The whole thing. Okay. Save all audio. You can't see it. It's just save all. And then we're going to go right click anywhere. Mix down session and new file, the entire session. This will usually take about 15-20 minutes. So in the meantime, we're going to do a couple things. First of all, let's go get an image of Void Lord. So I only want the purple part in the front. I'm not sure if I'm skilled enough of a graphic designer to do that. The deleted track was the raw audio blister. It was only the it was all of us talking. Let's see. Let's see if I can figure this out. Say view image. Oh, it was on this page somewhere, right? There it is. Save image. Let's look at the downloads. Show in folder. I got it over here. We're going to open the GIMP. I usually do this while this is mixing down. Do. And I pretty much only use the GIMP for this. It's a free version of Photoshop. If you have Photoshop, use Photoshop. It's much better. Okay, and then we want to also open, where is this? Documents. Nope, different documents. I don't know how to do this, because I only want the purple part. How do I do this? Is there a way to use the lasso? Maybe the magic wand? Bang your butt? No. It is not a porno. See, this is just awful. I don't want to do this. I want the whole purple dude. I want the outline of the purple dude. See if I can lasso him. Really only want the top half, too. I don't know what I'm doing. Send help. Right? I wonder if I can, like... I'm sure there's some way to mask it. Ah, see, like, that just looks terrible. I only want the front. But audio I have some idea of. Graphics I just really don't have any idea. Let's see. Do I want to mask it? Nope, we don't have an alpha channel. I do this stuff all the time and it's fiddly as heck. Blister, if you know what you're doing here, by all means, I'm probably just going to not do it. Because I have many skills in graphic design, is not anywhere near one of them. So I feel like I need to do some kind of layer mask, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I really just want to select by color. Right, you can kind of see it. This almost gets it. Wonder if I want to like select here. Nope. That does not do at all what I wanted. Add layer mask, reveal all. Let's see here. So first I'm gonna not select anything, because I don't want to select anything. Start painting out bits I don't want. I have decided that this is too much work and I don't want to do it. So we're just going to leave this as it is. Save this. As, let's see here. Export as 120. I have to export it, resize it, and then import it and resize it again, because GIMP crashes if I try and resize the XCF file. it's only good enough for this purpose. If I had someone that was a professional designer on the team, I would defer this to them. I only do it because I have a vague idea of how to do it. But it is pretty far outside my area of expertise, and I wouldn't recommend referring to me for any kind of graphics work. Open it back up. Image. Scale it. Export again. And we are done. Don't need to save it. Okay, got a minute left. Is the game still open? I don't think so. Looks like it is, but I don't want it to be. Okay, it's gone now. You know what you know how to do, even though you don't think you're good at it. Blister, I think you are much better at it than the average person. All right, and so this episode will be done in about 5 minutes or so. Yeah, it actually went pretty well. It looks like we've been streaming this for about 90 minutes. I would estimate that I usually plan on 2 hours, or really just like the length of the episode. I found that marking what I'm doing during the episode makes a big difference. If we're during the episode and I hit a button that makes the line, and I think it's normally the C line, just the C button, just knowing where I have to scroll to really does help a lot. So I've been, I'm glad I've integrated that as one of my habits. And then once we get the new file, we just remove the silence and we are done. Okay. So we're not going to save it yet. So it's under Effects, Special, I think. That was it. Modulation, Filter, Diagnostics. Delete Silence. You'll see over here at the Delete Silence panel, I have these settings set to 65 and 60. You can set whatever settings work for you. It'll scan the entire file. Ah, the Asmo emotes. Love the Asmo emotes. Okay. We've got 41 instances where silence is over 2 seconds, and we shorten it to half a second. Does everything for us. Don't have to do a thing. Save it. Straight up silence parts. Yeah, so anything here that is more than 2 seconds where nothing is happening, whether it's natural or artificial, it will find it. It will shorten it to half a second, and it'll sound a lot more seamless. There were 41 points where that happened. So yeah, that's why I use the either silence or crop tool, just to eliminate sound from the tracks without crunching it, because it does it for you. This is actually a huge time saver and makes the podcast flow a lot better. So I'm going to export the file. As an MP3. And hey, we're done. How about that? I'm going to upload the file. Kenny will put it on the website. And that's my night. So thank you all for tuning in. I will upload this video to YouTube, and don't be afraid of reaching out to me if you have any questions about this. I'm more than happy to talk about it. There were a lot of people that were really supportive of me when I was learning this. Brasky was really supportive. Rob from Bell and Chosen was super supportive. Wicked Good, of course. And Cinder helped me a lot with it as well. So don't be afraid to ask for questions. If anyone has anything they're curious about, I'm going to be recording this video and share it again. Yeah, you're very welcome. It was kind of cool to share this with you. I might do this again on a regular basis if it's at a reasonable time of night. So thank you all so much for coming out, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.